Hey there everybody, it's Mike DiLisio, and today I'm going to be reviewing Pray Another Day, a small box card game that made quite a bit of buzz at this year's Essen when it was released by designers Brett J. Gilbert and Matthew Dunstan and publisher Pegasus Spiele. Pray Another Day, as I said, is a card game that has a very simple rule set. There's almost no rules to speak of, but what there is, let me show you at the table, then we'll come back here and I'll let you know what I think. Okay, here we see Pray Another Day. There's not a whole lot in the box. You've got these food markers here, and you've got this large deck of cards. And the winner of the game is going to be the first player to collect 5 of these food tokens. The deck is comprised of 5 overview cards, and so depending on the number of players, every player would get 1 of these overview cards. And then every player is going to get a deck of 5 cards, and they're going to be the same 5 cards for every player. You've got the bear, you've got the wolf, you've got the lynx, you've got the owl, and you've got the mouse, and with associated numbers there. Okay, so it's going to be played in rounds, and each round is going to be made up of 3 parts. The first is playing animals, then calling animals, and then end of the hunt. All right, so as I said, every player has 1 of these decks with the same 5 cards, and at the beginning, everyone would play an animal. So let's say I played the wolf face down. Okay? Everyone else has played their animals face down. Someone at the table is going to call animals. Okay? So you start with the lowest number and you go right on down the list. So you would call bear. If anybody had played a bear, they would flip that face up. If nobody had played a bear, then they would go to the next one. Wolf. All right? Well, I played a wolf, so I would flip that up. If I was the only player at the table who played a wolf, then I could go on a hunt. If, however, 2 or more people played a wolf, then what happens is they argue over who's going to get the first shot at the prey. They take too long and the prey runs away. So the wolf survives the hunt, but they don't get anything. They missed out on the hunt. And then you would continue to go down. If, however, I was the only player to play this wolf, what I then would do is I would call out one of the animals with a larger number than me. So the wolf can hunt the lynx, owl, and the mouse. The bear can hunt all of them, from the wolf to the mouse. But I have these 3 options, and so I would call out one of those options. Let's say I call an owl. At that point, if anyone had played an owl, they would have to turn it over, and I would have had a successful hunt. If a player is captured in a hunt, so if someone had played an owl in this instance, then they are eliminated from the rest of this round. They would not continue to play animals. At the end of every hunt, you're going to check. If several players have survived and it wasn't the 3rd hunt in the round, then you go right back to the beginning and you start another hunt. If there was only 1 person that survived the hunt, then the round ends immediately and you'll distribute food markers. Or if it was the 3rd hunt of the round, that will also end the round and the food markers will be distributed. The distribution of the food markers works so that if only 1 person had survived, they would get 2 of these food tokens. If 2 or more people had survived, you add up the numerical values of the 3 animals that you played, and you're going to get points based upon that. Whoever has the most points will get 2, and if there's a tie, it would be friendly, and then everyone else would get 1. Everyone who's eaten would not get any food markers, and as I said at the beginning, the game will end when the first player collects 5 of those food tokens. That's it. Let's head back and let you know what I think. Okay, so as I said in the intro, there's not a lot to this game mechanically. It's a very simple game where everyone is choosing one of these animals that they're going to play. There are only 5 animals, and everyone's got the same 5 animals, and so the decision space is very limited. It's a narrow decision space. You're basically choosing an animal. Now, there's a little bit more that goes into that, especially as you're playing deeper into a round, because you know what cards some people have played, narrows some things down. You know, you can get yourself to a 50-50 kind of guess on certain occasions. But again, very light. So is there a game there? I think is going to be the question a lot of people are going to ask when they hear about it, maybe see some videos about it or read the rules. Is there a game there? Well, my answer is yes, there is a game there. But I will tell you, I feel like this is a game that's going to be very group dependent because I have played this game in groups of all different sizes. It plays from 2 to 5. I think it's better at the higher player counts, but it's going to depend upon the group. The group dependency I'm really talking about is just the type of players that are around the table, because I've played this, as I said, in groups of all different sizes, and I've had a really raucous, fun time where there was a lot of laughter, a lot of trash talking, all of those types of things that I felt added to the experience quite a bit. And I've also played it in groups where people weren't really kind of getting into it. They were just being kind of mechanical about their decisions, and it didn't go over as well. At least on my end, I didn't feel it had the same spark as it did in those groups where people were kind of getting into the spirit of what I think the game is trying to do. I'm not saying this is a role-playing game. You don't have to be someone who you're not. But I do think that this is a game that shines when people know what type of experience the game is, highlighting or providing, and are all in on that type of experience. This is about a bit of bluffing. It's about a bit of getting into the heads of the other players, doing a little bit of, it doesn't have to be trash talking, but getting them to question themselves and wonder, what should be a simple decision. You're playing, sometimes 1 out of 3 cards, and making people agonize over that decision maybe more than they should, being such a simple decision. And so I like that experience. I will tell you that, again, when I played it in groups where people weren't really into it, it wasn't really the type of game that they were maybe in the mood for. And of course, I didn't know that beforehand. It just felt like a much lesser experience. And you could probably make that argument over any game, that the group is going to be very dependent. Yes, that's true. But I think that some games are more group dependent than others. And I feel like this game is pretty high on the group dependency list. So, is that a bad thing? That's a bigger question that I want to tackle in this review, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think at times it can be, and at times it's not. I feel like in this case, it's not, because it's such a short game. It is lightning fast. You're playing to 5 points. You can get 2 of those 5 points in a round. So it is not a game that drags on. Actually, this is a game that I have almost always played multiple games of it, because it's just so fast. And if the people are into it, they want to play more. That's what I have found anyway, is that it's not a game that if you enjoy it, you're going to play it once, put it away, and go on to something else. It's a game you're going to play 3-4 times. And I think it's really suited to kind of end of the night type of things. If you're playing a game night and it's the end of the night and you've maybe played some heavier games and your brain is a little bit mushy, I think this game shines in those types of scenarios. But not only in those scenarios, I just think that that's probably where you're going to see it at its best. If you have a group of people that are kind of in that mood to be a little bit silly and raucous, the end of a night, everybody's just kind of taking what they can out of this experience. So, group dependent, of course, but I don't think it's a bad thing in this game. The art and components are going to be very divisive, I have found. I actually was attracted to this game originally because of the look. I love the look of this game. Yes, it is gaudy and garish and bright, and I'm here for it. I love it. It makes it stand out. I think it really looks good. I have seen some people online who have very strongly, actually not only online, but when I've been playing the game, who have been pretty strongly opposed. They thought, oh gosh, that's hard to even look at. I don't find that, but you should keep that in mind, that not everyone is going to like the aesthetic of the game. You might not like the aesthetic of the game. However, I do think that the gameplay is where it's at. The art is nice, and there is a bit of theme, right? Because it's the food chain type of theming, and that works. It works for this game. I think that the art and the aesthetic just kind of help bring across the spirit of the game, which I think is kind of out there, kind of wacky, but very simple mechanically. So, all of that being said, the biggest strengths of this game, I feel, are the nature of wanting to play it multiple times in a group that really is into it, okay? And one of the negatives is that you're not going to always get that type of experience out of the game. It's going to be a little bit hit or miss there, but Depending upon if you like the look of the art, if you like the sound of a game like this, if you like other games that involve a little bit of guesswork, a little bit of bluffing, all that kind of thing, I think this is going to be right up your alley. It is up my alley. I'm going to give it a recommendation. I'm going to be giving Pray Another Day a 7.5 out of 10. And look, that may go up over time and it may go down over time. It's really going to depend on, does it have legs? Because it is so simple mechanically. Is it one of those games that's going to kind of stick around for a few years and be one that I bring out at the end of game nights? Time will tell on that. All right, well, that's going to do it for me. This is Mike DiLisio signing off from the Dice Tower Midwest Annex.